Hey everybody, welcome into Folklore and Flourish here with Jane and Mark over at Blue Box 29. It is August 9th. So you didn't see me yesterday because it was my birthday and I just wanted to spend time with Mark and kind of chill and relax. Plus I got a massage, so I was way too tired to do anything.
Tired or relaxed?
Stories. I think I was just too relaxed to want to sit down. Felt good to lay down or to walk around. So
Yeah.
But I just kind of want to be with you. Kind of like on your birthday, how I told you I just kind of want to do the stories and focus more on you than coming in and doing this.
There can be good stories though, because there's got to be good stories on that.
Yeah, well, because yesterday was the Golden Gate, and then the 12th is Celestial Gate, and I was looking into some stuff. Wait, let me explain this, because it might be what you might be thinking. I was looking into some stuff, and I want to look more into about the potential of that gap literally being the gates open that 4 days. It's open and the celestial gate closes it. So when it all is falling down, that's when it's falling back down. So it was just kind of cool. I would like to see more about that. If anyone knows stories or cultures about those 4 days between 8-12, 4, 8, 12, there's so many.
Yeah, it's kind of nice to have the stories speak for themselves sometimes without us talking about it, but I also like to jump on here and just kind of chit chat, because hopefully other people can get something out of that too.
Well, it's like when we watch podcasts. Sometimes, like if we're just looking at the Y files, sometimes we like the shorts. Sometimes we go to, okay, we have 30 minutes to relax before bed, kind of find something within that range. Versus we're kind of utilizing that specific podcast for learning. We go more towards the basement.
Yeah.
My personal favorite is Thursdays because I like to dance with a fish.
Fish on Thursdays. I'm really getting into Danny Jones.
Yeah, the Danny Jones podcast you put on quite a bit.
I'm really getting into it. It's good.
I like that you're into it, but you are actively sharing things you don't agree with, but you're still listening to it. So you're like allowing it to present stuff. And some of the things you're like, but other things you're like, yeah, I don't think so.
Even in the podcast, that's what I really enjoyed about it. Is one of the things that he did and said was he's like, man, you're really reaching and he's talking to his guest. But his guest is there with stuff that he believes are facts, and he's able to lay them out as such. And he talked about somebody else that was on the show and as the host, I just really like people that are interviewers. I could definitely see myself doing it because there's just this style that certain people do. And he's kind of there with some of the other people that I like. But where he just gives the people the space to say what they want to say. And he's not sitting there judging them for what they want to say. And at the same time, he's like, oh man, this is cool. And he's way into it. But then he's like, this part's a little too much, but I'm still listening.
He's not agreeing with everything either. He's allowing himself to be what he thinks, what he believes, but also he allows people to come on just from the few. And I haven't seen as many as you, but just the way you were watching, clearly this is a podcast where you can have debates. You can discuss things and you can walk away feeling good, regardless of if you were challenged or you challenged him. I just really liked that. I liked how he wasn't, let's move on because we don't agree. Okay, well, let's think about it. Let's share some ideas. And it's not this, we have to resolve it. We have to prove you or I are right. Just share it and, okay, so then what would that mean to this and move on?
It's like, break down what you got. Let's hear about what you got. Because truly, I believe that how would I explain this? So the thought process that I have of everything being able to be.
That was so totally rude of me. Just trying to
it's all right.
Speaking. I apologize.
This is going to have to be edited because I'm trying to think of some fucking words. So in it, with me, how I believe that there's every possibility is possible to where some people think this is true and some people think this is true. where I think there's a place in our reality where they are both true.
I said that exact thing to Carolyn the other day.
Yeah.
That's what Blue Box 29 is, because I told her my belief is that everyone's right. And we have just fought, and I'm not saying every single thing is right. I'm saying that the big scheme of things that we all have, I think that we are right in our reality.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a reality where it is right to us. Otherwise, why would we be there?
Yeah.
And there's a confusion. It's because we're choosing. Mm-hmm. But I told her I truly think a lot of it, if not all of it's the same. We're just fighting over what the name is.
Exactly. It's just the lens you're looking at it from, too, as if you shift your perspective just a tiny bit. I think you're able to see a lot of other stuff. But with all that said, on to your episode, because we're talking about something totally different.
Yeah, but
what is today's story?
We're not. It's about the heat today. So there are many different, well, not just that, but the heat and pressure that builds power.
Okay.
So the forge, right? You put in this piece of metal and then it just comes out as this immaculate Excalibur, right? If you ever watch the Forge show, Forged in Fire, you get to see how you beat the crap out of that thing to make it beautiful, right? These things are built under pressure, and there are times where it's too much, or there's so many different ways that it could get messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it takes unbelievably intense pressure regardless, right? And so today, with the heat and it being our second week, the sun in full, we get to see the pressure builds power. And our lesson is that heat transforms faster than comfort does. So we can live in our comfort zone for however long we want. But then you get that, it's like how we said, tested by fire, that little bit of pressure. And all of a sudden we have the courage to do something. We have the discipline to stand for ourselves. Pressure forces us to adapt. You either change or you break. You go into the forge, you're either going to work it and it's going to come out, or you're going to work it and it's going to break, right?
Yep.
Or it's going to be deformed, it's going to change, or you're going to have to change. Because there's also this little bit of just because it didn't come out exactly how we wanted doesn't mean it didn't come out in a beautifully, unique way.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's why I'm saying, if you watch the show, watch how much we as humans know how to adapt. We know pressure's on. What's going to become of this, right? What's going to become of me? What's going to become of this idea? It's kind of interesting because I've seen a couple, most of them, the people just keep pushing through, but I have seen a couple where they just throw their hands up. And the judges are like, okay, because pressure showed what happens.
Yeah.
This is a brutal industry. It's just like any craft.
Yeah.
Right? You have to, learn, and some of the most beautiful things come out of the ugly pressure. It's not a comfort zone. You're not in your own place until the very end when you have to make that big, big time one, right? But I just really like that idea of you can know someone for 20 plus years and then both be in a situation where you're placed under pressure and discover that neither of you knew who the other person was because of the way you reacted to it. And I just think that's pretty unique too. I think that's what makes friendship go beyond that K through 12, right? Because the people we remain friends with throughout high school, middle school, elementary school, the only people we remain friends with are the people that were there during the shit, during the pressure, during they saw me give up.
Right.
They've seen me be ugly. They've seen me carry on. They've seen all of this. And so we get that too. We get to figure out who's part of our forge.
Yeah, there's no growth in fire. There's no growth in calm, and I've seen so many things and heard so many times where they're like, yeah, it's great being comfortable. But what are you learning? Truly, if you're not going out trying to do things. So sometimes you need that fire to burn something down, to force you to have to change. And I believe that comes from somewhere else to make us do that.
And that's why I kind of think that what we were talking about before with the heat and pressure, it was still going with it. So that's why I didn't rush into jumping into the topic or anything.
Right. Gotcha.
Kind of leaning into it. But with that, the 4 stories we're going to see are the Greek, Hindu, Navajo, and Baltic stories today. I was telling Mark earlier, I was so excited when I was done reading these stories. I came out and wrote a name on the board, right, with our story, because we get to see Semele. Obviously, we chose Semele.
Right.
If you haven't seen our image on TikTok, I think all of our mermaids are really pretty, but Semele is probably my favorite looking besides our main character. But she's someone that suffered based on an oath by the river Styx.
Right.
And it was just cool because we get to see another one today where a son makes his divine father swear by the river Styx and make an oath. And immediately when they figured out why, they're like, okay, yeah, immediate regret. And I think you do hope the best, but I would think that it is that scary of why? Why do we as humans choose things that we don't fully understand? And it's not arrogance. It's not anything terrible today. It's just, we do have to have discipline. We have to be tested. We don't just get to walk in and think, I can do it because I'm meant for this.
Right.
Yeah, but you're only going to be built for it through pressure, through the heat. You can be meant for it. It's like watching your heroes fail at something and you're like, wait, what? But they haven't been building towards that thing. But the question today is, what intensity is reshaping me? So what intensity is reshaping us today? And then we're going to place both hands on our chest and sit quietly, noticing the warmth of our own bodies as evidence of inner fire at work. So feeling that inner fire at work, because we are constantly going.
Yeah.
You know, one of the scariest things is when we let that light die out. And it takes a lot to truly make a light die out because it'll stay in there when you don't even notice it. It's kind of like wildfires. And people are like, well, who started it? What do you mean it was from lightning a week ago? Yeah, because it stays.
Yeah.
It'll stay. It's so resilient. Our inner fire is so resilient. But it's not if it's never tested, right? It's a lot easier to be put out if we make it 50, 60 years and it's never been under pressure. It's never had the gust of wind blow at it or anything like that. But today we're just going to place both hands. That's why that's the picture.
Like that.
So it's placing both hands there and sitting quietly with yourself over your chest and just feeling your inner warmth. And then the final thing for today is we're going to allow one demanding experience today to be recognized as a source of strength rather than resistance. So something demanding today. Okay, instead of it being a resistance, we're going to use it as a source of strength or recognize it as a source of strength. It's kind of that idea of, I get to go take care of my land. I get to go take care of animals. I get to work hard. I get to wake up before the sun. I get to be exhausted and do it all over again.
That's one big shift that I'm actually trying to, and you're using the correct words, instead of I have to. And it's not because I came up with it. I heard somebody else say this, and they were like, when you say I have to do something, that's almost like a negative way to say it. I have to do this. I don't want to do it. I have to. Instead, now I'm sure you heard me when I was talking about the yard. I was like, yeah, I don't have to do it right now, but I want to. I want to get it done.
No, that's why I brought it up.
And that's just my biggest thing in shifting. It's almost that psychological game with myself of, no, you know what you need to do. It needs to get done, but we're not going to give it that attitude. We're not going to give it that energy because it is something that I wanted to do. At the end of the day, I started that project because it was something that I wanted. So now it is just something I want to get done because it's going to look really cool. It's going to look nice. And it'll be a great place at some point, sanctuary or whatever it becomes for somebody, something, kids, animals, or whatever in the future, long after I'm gone. But it's still going to look amazing compared to what it was to what it is going to be because I wanted to do it, not because I had to.
And I think part of that goes back to we were so ready to just rush out.
Yeah.
Rush and leave. And yeah, that's still there, but that doesn't mean we can't do the things that we wanted to do here. I feel like we've actually had a little bit of a pause on a number of thoughts and ideas because we're sitting here saying we're going to start focusing on us.
Yeah.
It sucks, but who else is choosing us?
Mm-hmm.
Truly. And that's no fault of anyone else.
Yeah.
Because they might be thinking, who's choosing me? I got to choose me.
Mm-hmm.
But we've been noticing truly just a lot of, we got to choose us and do things for us, but we were still making decisions based on other people who just, I don't know, just didn't notice or didn't, I don't know. But I'm saying I don't know because I don't really care to think about it.
Right.
I don't feel like everyone needs to have a reason. You're in your own world. That's fine. I'm not going to sit here and ask you to ask me to be there.
Right.
And I mean that for everyone, right? Because why should people have to always ask me too?
Right.
And so I think it's been a little bit of pause. That's why I've been crafting stuff. Because I really, truly am going to go through and it's either something that can be reused or used as it is, specialized and used somewhere else, or it's gone. Because I do want to start downsizing. I've been really thinking about the tech thing. Like it's been heavy on my mind. I just keep mentioning it to you. But then every time I think about it at home, something goes wrong with that screen. It dims out and it darks. And I'm like, so am I just supposed to get rid of you? Like when it breaks, I have like no concern to replace it right away. Like, and maybe that's upsetting, but truly I'm just like, I wouldn't mind the TV being in from the bedroom in the living room and us not having tech in our bedroom.
Yeah. A lot of people do that.
And I've heard that it truly like right away changes your frequency because the technology is what keeps you awake. It's what keeps you restless. It's like they say that there should be so much space between your phone and your head at night because it's pushing stuff at you. And I'm not saying it's pushing messages. I'm saying there's literally energy coming off of that that's damaging the body.
Or blocking.
Well, think about it this way. It's an organic thing being attacked by something that's, I don't know the word, like cryptic. I don't know the word for it. But that technology is not a healthy frequency for something organic.
Well, like when radio first came out, right, that it made people sick. It was not good because people weren't used to it.
Was that because they took away Tesla's thing though? Because wasn't it
there was allegedly a way to make it so it was safer and that
safer and free,
and in the frequency of it wouldn't harm us, right? But the way it was put out, because one thing, it is so new. Now we are just so used to it. But imagine how you would feel when everything's shut off. So those of you that go camping, if you truly go where you unplug, where there is no cell service or anything, listen. Like if you don't have anything that's plugged in or energetical or whatever around you, the sound is a lot different.
Technology, because you're going to have energy.
Right. Any man-made technologies that would produce any type of energy.
And isn't it crazy that when we leave that space, the big idea is, time to get back to the real world. And the first thing people do is look on social media and it's like, wait, how is nature an escape and our phones are the real world?
Yeah.
It is just that shift, and we've been slowly going the opposite. And so many other people have too.
A lot of people are.
I mean, apologize to friends all the time. Talk to Taylor and Hazel because it's my birthday. Amanda, I don't talk much to any of them, but I also don't think that they're spending all their time on their phones.
Yep.
Why would I? Because we all used our phone as an escape. When you're younger and I think when you're lonely, you do use it because you don't have to be online.
Yeah.
But then when you truly start loving your life more, I don't know, it's just cool.
Yeah, and I like step away from it.
That get versus have. I think the one thing that makes it more so influential is that it's choice now.
Yeah.
If I have to do something, we're implying that it's not in our nature to choose. And one of the biggest things that people, they get very upset with, and I've seen a number of people yell at me, get upset with, well, I have to work. Like, I have to go to work nonstop. I have to do this. I have to do this. Why? Break it down. Why? Because I have to have money. Why? Because I have to be able to spend stuff, and I have to do this, and I have to do this, and I have to do this. And I'm like, you have to do all of this stuff, yet all these decisions led you in this place where you definitely don't have to be here.
Mm-hmm.
This is your choice, and the place you choose to be, all you do is complain about the things you have to do to get you here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
yeah, making that little shift of changing that I have to do this. And like what you were saying, I love that, is when you're able to make somebody question their own thoughts of, and not in a negative way, but in the way of, sorry, we got Molly going crazy on the light over here.
You are going to go sit down and be a professional. You did not get to do this.
Podcaster kitten.
Podcaster. You don't get to just not step down because your dad took your seat and you want to be immature. I love you too, sweetheart.
So when you make them question why they have to do something, I think you could truly spark something in them. Be like, wait a second, I don't have to do any of this. What do I have to do? I have to eat, I have to drink, I have to sleep. Well, then you got to use the restroom too. But like, those are the things that you have to do, right? You can't live without those things. Breathing, obviously. So then now, how do I need to eat? What can I do to eat? And then when you can break it down of the type of foods that we eat, I don't have to go to McDonald's or whatever and go eat fast food, or I don't have to have that $50 steak. Those aren't have-tos. Those are wants. And when you can stop that and say, I have to have this vehicle. I have to have this really nice truck that I got. No, I never needed to have that. I truly didn't. So now, why do I think I need to have that? Wait a second. No, those are wants. And you could truly break it down when you're like, okay, this is what you have to do. Now, what could you do to add on to your have-tos that will make you happy doing what you have to do? I have to eat. What can make you happy doing that? I like to garden. Cool. Go garden. Because now you're doing something you like to do that helps you do something that you have to do.
And maybe even thinking about it, because here's something that I hear it a lot, and I guess I did more when I was teaching, but I have to take care of my kids. As someone that couldn't have kids, that's kind of, you have to take care of your kids. I wish I got to take care of kids.
Yeah, and
I wish I got to take care of my kids.
I like that.
I wish I got to have them, and that's something that's big too. And I mean, that's a major thing. Obviously, that's a pretty big thing, but you technically don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Millions of people, billions, trillions of people throughout history chose not to. It is a choice. I have to take care of my kids. I have to do all this. I have to. It's not a
well, then
great
why'd you
thing.
have them if you?
Well, it's not a great thing to hear as a child either.
I bet.
I'm a burden to you. And it is a burden because we created it to be one.
Right. And it doesn't have to be.
And school, that's why we have school every single second that the sun is up, because it's not about it. It's about babysitting, so that people are so busy at work that they're too tired to do anything other than what they have to do.
Yeah. And that big shift, once we shift out of the have tos and the want tos,
guess what we become?
A lot happier.
Cats. She doesn't have to come to work. She doesn't have to have a temper tantrum and knock the thing over. She doesn't have to slap me with her claw when I'm trying to talk. She gets to. You look how she just looks right at the camera?
Yeah.
And she chooses to.
And she's like, just rub my belly.
No, but it is. And it's not just in that child thing isn't just for women, it's for men too.
It's just
a lot of people want to have things and they don't get to for whatever reason, their soul contract, karma, whatever. And it's a society where it's thrown in their face that the people that get to experience it see it as something they have to do.
Right. And it's a big ego thing. And it's the whole keeping up with the Joneses. And we think we have to do all this stuff because other people are doing it. But when you stop and say, wait, do I really want that?
Like school, college, marriage, kids, career, retire. What? And I think that's where we're seeing the decline of like babies being born. Because I don't have to live life like it's a checklist.
Yeah.
Of I didn't get like that keeping up with the Jones. Oh, well, I'm married. Where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
Happy?
Yeah.
Are we both happy? That's cool. We get to both be happy and you get to be it in your way and I get to be it in mine.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also like, oh my gosh, you're so much younger. I can't believe they're younger. They had kids before I did. I have to feel sad about it. Why?
I just saw the other day, there's a guy that I went to school with and he's having a child.
Yeah, you said
He's
that.
my
Do you
age.
want to share what his like thoughts were that you said? How he got to, because I just really liked it.
No. Oh. Something new. Like just saw someone that is having a child. And I mean, we graduated together. And it's one thing that the one that you're bringing up is there's a gentleman that I work with and he's my age and he's starting to have kids as now that he's older. And he's been working really hard to where he's getting close to actually retiring or being able to retire. Mm-hmm. And he's like, look at it this way. Like, yeah, I am older and whatever, maybe have a few less years. But the quality of the years that he's planning on having by far outweighs being whatever alone. Because now he gets to be there the whole time. Nobody else is raising his kids. He gets to do it the way he wants to because he wants to do it. And he wants to be there. So when the kid is in baseball and sports and traveling or whatever the kid wants to do, he's able to be there for that child. 100%. That's how it should be for anybody that wants children. We should be able to be there 1,000,000% for our child. And the society that we've made to where we have made it to where we can't be there. And we have to send them to school so we can have that
and
child
then school
care.
Being closed doors.
Yeah. It's just,
closed door. We don't talk about what we teach is not okay.
No.
And that it's, oh, well, they're teachers, so they're better.
No.
I don't agree with the idea that experts in their fields are always the smartest.
No, they just
I've seen so many people, so many educators that I had experience with, they used AI to make everything. AI did their lessons plans. They uploaded all the work and AI could even read it and give reviews and feedback. Truly, you didn't have to do anything.
I heard this quote the other day and they were talking about being a master of something. And it was funny because they said, yeah, just read 10 books on the subject and you're a master of that subject. Like that's common whatever. Now, I wouldn't say knowledge, but like that's what they say.
Common practice, maybe?
Read 10 books and you should be a master at that thing. Yeah, but the people that wrote all these 10 books that you're saying, like if that's truly the thing, what if those 10 books were all wrong? Like read those 10 books, learn from those 10 books, and then, but you're a master? So you don't have to learn no more after 10 books. I thought that was the silliest thing when
And right now I feel good that we're in that phase because it flipped from I have to I get to.
Yep.
And honestly, I feel like I've had more communication from your girls since I stepped back and made it a you get to, not you have to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to talk to me, but you get me when you want me, when you need me, you know, and I'm not saying when you want like money or you want attention, you know, when you truly want me, my comfort, my whatever, I'm here, you know? And so it's just changed my perspective too in a positive way. But yeah, I feel good about this. But anyways, so with all of that today, that's all I had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it from me, Molly, and Marcus Leviticus. Ta-ta for now.
Let that pressure do what it needs to do.
Just not peer pressure.
No.
See you guys.
Love you.
Before we begin, I want to take a moment to honor the cultures behind the stories we are about to explore. The tales shared here come from many peoples, lands, and traditions. I do not change these stories to fit modern expectations or to align with today's social standards. Instead, I present them as they were told, sometimes beautiful, sometimes harsh, sometimes challenging. We are not here to judge the past, but to understand it, to listen, to learn, and to honor the ancestors who carried these stories forward. We also share stories from various religious traditions. These are presented in their historical and spiritual context, with respect for their beliefs that they represent. Every culture deserves respect, context, and acknowledgement, and this space is dedicated to doing exactly that. August 9th, the heat. Story 1, Phaethon and the chariot of Helios. There was once a young man named Phaethon who carried within him a question that had become almost unbearable. Who am I really? His mother, Clymene, had always told him that his father was Helios, the radiant god of the sun who drove his blazing chariot across the heavens each day. But when others mocked Phaethon and doubted his divine parentage, knowing the truth was no longer enough, he wanted proof. So Phaethon journeyed eastward to the magnificent palace of Helios, where the walls glittered with precious metals and the god himself sat surrounded by unbearable light. When Phaethon entered, Helios recognized his son immediately. Seeing the doubt that had brought him there, the sun god promised to grant him any wish as proof of their bond, swearing by the sacred river Styx, an oath even a god could not break. Phaethon asked for one thing, to drive his father's chariot across the sky for a single day. Helios was horrified. The request was not an honor, it was a danger. Even the king of the gods could not easily manage those fire-breathing horses or remain upon the narrow celestial path. Helios begged his son to choose anything else, warning him that courage alone could not control such tremendous power. But Phaethon would not surrender the chance to prove himself. Bound by his oath, Helios reluctantly prepared the chariot. Dawn arrived. Phaethon took the reins, and the horses immediately sensed that unfamiliar hands held them. They surged from their course. First, the chariot climbed too high, leaving the earth trembling beneath sudden cold. Then the horses plunged downward. The blazing sun swept dangerously close to the land. Rivers shrank, vegetation burned, mountains smoked, and the earth itself cried out beneath the unbearable heat. Phaethon desperately pulled at the reins, but the power he had wanted so badly now controlled him. Finally, to prevent the entire world from burning, Zeus hurled a thunderbolt from heaven. It struck Phaethon from the chariot, and the young man fell from the sky into the river Eridanus. The horses returned to their proper course, but the world below carried the wounds of that terrible day. Greek storytellers preserve Phaethon's tragedy as more than a warning against ambition. Phaethon was not wrong for wanting to know who he was, nor for longing to discover what he might be capable of. His mistake was believing that possessing great power and being prepared to carry it were the same thing. Helios understood something his son had not yet learned. Enormous forces require discipline. Fire can illuminate a world, but move it only slightly from its proper place, and illumination becomes devastation. There are seasons in our own lives when we may feel the reins pulling violently in our hands, when responsibility, ambition, grief, change, or expectation suddenly becomes hotter than we imagined. Phaethon's story does not tell us to flee from those moments. It asks whether we are willing to become strong enough to carry what we have asked for. Heat reveals where enthusiasm ends, and mastery must begin. Sometimes the pressure reshaping us is not evidence that we chose the wrong path. Sometimes it is the furnace teaching us what the path requires. Story 2, Surya, the light that burns away darkness. Before temples opened their doors and before the first fires of morning were tended, the eastern horizon began to glow. Across ancient India, that first golden light belonged to Surya, the radiant solar deity whose arrival awakened the world from darkness. In early Hindu tradition, Surya was not merely the blazing object seen overhead. He was the divine presence of the sun itself, the illuminator who made life, movement, sight, and understanding possible. Ancient hymns of the Rig Veda praise him as one who rises for all beings, revealing what darkness has concealed. Each day, Surya crossed the heavens in a magnificent chariot, traditionally drawn by 7 horses, and guided by his charioteer, Aruna, whose name evoked the reddish glow of dawn. Nothing could remain entirely hidden when Surya rose. Roads became visible, fields emerged from shadow, human beings could work, travel, recognize one another, and distinguish what stood before them. From that physical truth grew a powerful spiritual idea. Light does more than allow the eyes to see. It allows the mind to perceive. Darkness therefore became a natural image for avidya, ignorance or mistaken understanding, while illumination became associated with knowledge, clarity, and awakened awareness. Surya's heat could be fierce, especially beneath the Indian summer sky. Yet the same solar force that exhausted the body also nourished crops, governed seasons, and sustained the rhythms upon which communities depended. His radiance revealed an uncomfortable truth about transformation. What gives life is not always comfortable. Sometimes clarity itself burns. A truth we have avoided can arrive like noon sunlight, leaving nowhere for an illusion to hide. A lesson repeated gently for years may suddenly become unavoidable when experience turns up the heat. In later Hindu traditions, Surya continued to embody vitality, health, vision, and divine illumination. Devotees greeted the rising sun with prayers and offerings of water, acknowledging the gift of another day beneath his rays. The famous practice of Surya Namaskar, the salutation to the sun, would eventually embody this relationship physically, turning the human body toward the source of light in a sequence of reverence and movement. Yet perhaps Surya's deepest lesson is contained in something simpler. Every morning, darkness yields without being fought. The sun does not argue with the night. It rises, and what could not be seen becomes visible. We experience similar moments within ourselves. Growth sometimes begins not when circumstance becomes easier, but when we finally see them clearly. The heat of disappointment may expose what we truly value. Responsibility may reveal abilities comfort never demanded. Failure may illuminate weaknesses we would rather have ignored. None of these experiences feel gentle while we are inside them, but transformation rarely asks whether we find it convenient. Surya reminds us that illumination and intensity often arrive together. If we want the light that reveals the road ahead, we must sometimes accept the heat that comes with standing fully inside it. Story 3, Jóhonaa'éí, the sun and the journey of the hero twins. Across the homelands of the Dene, the people commonly called Navajo, sunlight moves across a landscape of immense mesas, red stone, open desert, and distant mountains. Within Dene tradition, the sun is known as Jóhonaa'éí, often translated into English as sun bearer or referred to as sun father. His presence belongs to a much larger sacred understanding of a world in which people, land, celestial beings, and the forces of nature exist within relationships that must continually be brought toward balance. One well-known part of the Dene creation tradition tells of the hero twins, monster slayer and born for water, sons of changing woman. The world into which they were born was dangerous. Powerful monsters preyed upon the people, and the twins eventually learned that their father was the sun. But knowing who their father was did not mean they could simply claim his power. They first had to reach him. Their journey carried them through tremendous dangers until at last they arrived at the dwelling of the sun. There, according to versions of the tradition recorded from Dene storytellers, the sun did not immediately embrace the strangers claiming to be his children. Their identity had to be established, and the twins underwent severe trials that tested whether they truly possessed the strength required of them. Heat, danger, and supernatural challenges become part of their proving. Yet they survive. Only after enduring these ordeals did the sun recognize them and equip Monster Slayer with the means necessary to confront the beings threatening humanity. The twins returned, not with power for display, but with power attached to responsibility. Monster Slayer fought the monsters that endangered the people, while certain forces were allowed to remain because even hardship could have a place within the balance of life. The story therefore offers a very different relationship with the sun than the one of simple comfort. Sunlight sustains life, but the sun can also test. Heat can nourish, but it can also demand endurance. The hero twins do not emerge from their trials unchanged. They became capable of carrying responsibility that could not simply have been handed to them at the beginning of their journey. This is where their story meets today's question: what intensity is reshaping me? There are times when we want strength delivered before the experience that creates it. We have confidence without uncertainty, wisdom without mistakes, endurance without exhaustion, and courage without ever having to feel afraid. But some abilities exist only because something demanded that we develop them. The hero twins enter the sun's domain seeking recognition and leave prepared for responsibility. Their trials do not make suffering inherently good, nor do they suggest that every hardship has been divinely assigned. Instead, they preserve an older and subtler observation. When difficulty arrives, human beings can sometimes emerge possessing capacities they did not know they carried. Beneath the immense southwestern sun, heat becomes more than temperature. It becomes an image of transformation. Not everything exposed to intensity survives unchanged, and perhaps that is precisely the point. Sometimes the person who entered the fire could never have carried what the person who emerges from it finally can. Story 4, Saule, the sun who never abandons her journey. Each morning above the forests, rivers, and fields of Latvia, the eastern horizon brightened with the arrival of Saule, the radiant sun goddess of Baltic tradition. To the ancient Baltic peoples, the sun was not merely a distant fire traveling overhead. Saule was imagined as a powerful maternal presence whose warmth nourished crops, watched over human life, and marked the dependable rhythm of each passing day. Latvian folk songs known as Dainas preserve countless images of her journey. She appears dressed in gold and silver, traveling across the heavens in a shining carriage or sleigh, her path carrying her from sunrise toward the western horizon. Horses are frequently associated with this celestial movement, and the world through which Saule travels glitters with solar imagery, golden rains, silver wheels, amber light, and the brilliant colors of dawn and sunset. Yet Saule's journey was never simply a beautiful procession. Every morning she had to rise, every day she had to cross the entire sky. Every evening she disappeared beyond the horizon, only for the great cycle to begin again. In a northern land where summer days could stretch astonishingly long and winter sunlight could become painfully brief, the return of the sun mattered profoundly. Her movement governed planting, harvest, work, rest, celebration, and survival itself. The Baltic year turned around the changing strength of her light. At the summer solstice, celebrated in Latvia through Jóhonaa'éí, communities welcomed the year's longest day with bonfires, songs, wreaths, food, and gathering that continued through the short night. Fire burned upon the earth while the sun lingered above it, joining human celebration with the great solar rhythm overhead. Saule's deeper power may lie not in the intensity of midsummer alone, but in her constancy. She does not remain forever at the height of her strength. Her light grows, reaches fullness, diminishes, and returns. Baltic tradition therefore preserves a vision of power that does not require perpetual intensity. Nature itself refuses that demand. No summer lasts forever. No winter does either. The sun can blaze across the June sky and barely rise above the December horizon. Yet both belong to the same journey. This makes Saule a beautiful final figure for today's exploration of heat. Helios and Phaethon showed us that intensity without mastery can overwhelm us. Surya revealed how illumination can burn through what we could not previously see. The Danae hero twins showed us how trials may prepare someone to carry greater responsibility. Saule offers a final lesson. Transformation cannot remain at maximum heat forever. After the furnace comes integrity. After the challenge comes endurance. There will be days when our strength feels like midsummer, brilliant and almost endless, and others where we possess only enough light to cross the horizon. Neither means we have abandoned our path. Saule continues. Perhaps we can too. Strength is not always found in becoming hotter, faster, or stronger. Sometimes it is found in learning the rhythm that allows our fire to survive long enough to return tomorrow. Daily Thread for August 9th. What intensity is reshaping me? There are seasons when life warms us gently, and there are seasons when it turns up the heat. Pressure builds, expectations grow heavier, truth becomes harder to avoid. The comfortable versions of ourselves suddenly seem incapable of carrying what comes next. Today's stories remind us that heat is not merely something to escape. Sometimes it is the very condition through which transformation becomes possible. Phaethon sees the reins of Helios' blazing chariot, believing that wanting great power meant he was ready to carry it, only to discover that desire and mastery are not the same. His story asks whether we are willing to develop the discipline required by the thing we say we want. Surya rose over India as a great illuminator, revealing that light does more than comfort us. It exposes what darkness allowed us to ignore. Sometimes growth begins when a truth becomes too bright to look away from. Among the Dene, the hero twins journeyed toward the sun, seeking recognition but encountering trials that demanded courage, endurance, and preparation before greater responsibility could be placed within their hands. And across the Baltic sky, Saule completed her faithful journey through changing seasons. Remind that strength does not mean remaining at maximum intensity forever. There is a time to blaze and a time to conserve the flame. Together, these stories reveal 4 different faces of heat: discipline, illumination, preparation, and endurance. We often imagine transformation as something beautiful once it is finished. We admire the forged sword, but forget the furnace. We celebrate confidence without remembering the uncertainty that built it. We notice someone's strength without seeing the years in which they learned how to carry what once overwhelmed them. Yet comfort rarely asks us to discover the edges of our own abilities. Pressure does. It shows us where we need stronger boundaries, deeper patience, greater knowledge, more courage, or simply rest. That does not mean every painful experience happens for a reason, nor that suffering should be sought or endured unnecessarily. Sometimes the wisest response of unbearable heat is to step away from the flame. But there are other moments when we recognize that what feels intense is not destroying us. It is stretching us beyond a shape we have outgrown. So perhaps today's question is not simply, how do I make this easier? It is also, what is this asking me to become capable of? Maybe the responsibility feels heavier because our shoulders are strengthening. Maybe clarity feels uncomfortable because an illusion can no longer follow us forward. Maybe the pace needs to slow because endurance matters more than speed. The sun itself teaches us that intensity has a rhythm. Dawn warms gradually, noon reaches its height, evening cools the earth again. Transformation needs that rhythm too. We are not meant to live forever inside the furnace. We enter, we are changed, and eventually we carry what the heat taught us into whatever comes next. The heat is not always asking you to withstand more. Sometimes it is teaching you when to rise, what to release, how to endure, and what you must become capable of carrying next.